Good morning, and welcome back to the 2021 Entrepreneurship Week by OU Launchpad. So excited to have you back with us. This is going to be a great session that we're having here, but I just want to take a moment to encourage you to share the stream, start a watch party with friends, grab that link from YouTube, text it to a couple of people, email it to a couple of people. This is going to be a great session that we're having today, and we're going to jump into that in just a moment. But I wanted to take a quick minute to just recap a little bit. We started off the week on Monday with a session with Dr. Lucille Sabas, and Chaplain Andrew Pileggi actually gave us our worship thought on Monday, and it was powerful, and it was rooted right in the whole entrepreneurship mindset. And then, of course, Dr. Sabas took us through that mindset and ideation and spirit in that first presentation. If you missed that, you're going to want to go back and check it out. Later that evening, Monday evening, we had the How It All Works live show, and I got a chance to host that. We had Marshall Fox and Julian Waddell on there. And for those that missed it, there's a special moment in that show where we awarded Mr. Waddell the 2021 How It All Works Entrepreneurship Award. And it was a special moment, one that we will not forget. I hope one that really leaves an impression on Mr. Waddell. And I want to say a word of thanks to all of you who are out there that submitted videos to be able to surprise him in this way. It is so good to be able to pour back into those who have been such a blessing to us. And then yesterday we had the Launch You pitch competition, and we had 6 different students from Oakwood University pitch their businesses to a panel of esteemed judges and got wonderful feedback. If you didn't get a chance to catch that, that was 7 o'clock last night in Central Time Zone. It was phenomenal. And we had three of those students emerged as winner. The third place person got $1,000. The second place person got $2,000. And our first place winner, Brandon Marshall, with his brand of Damaged Goods, won the top prize, $5,000 for his business. And we're just excited about all that is happening this week. And today is not going to be any different. Again, I just want to encourage you, take a moment right now to share the stream, to tag someone in the comments. And then, of course, just let us know in the comments that you're with us here and that we are engaged, ready for this program. And in we have a special person who's going to actually interview our special guest today, and she will also do his intro. So I'm going to bring Miss Jana Peterson on screen right now, and then we will have her to introduce our special guest. Jana Peterson, welcome to OU Entrepreneurship Week. You're no stranger here. You're definitely a fixture in last year's Entrepreneurship Week. Thank you so much for all that you do behind the scenes and for the critical work that 57 Northampton is doing in the community. Talk to us.
Thank you so much, Kirk, for having me here. And thank you, everybody who's watching, for tuning in. I know it's a little bit early, but I promise you will not be disappointed. We have today with us Brandon Sadler. Brandon Sadler is a multidisciplinary artist based in Atlanta, Georgia, and a graduate of Savannah College of Art and Design with a BFA in illustration. He is renowned for his public murals, and his solo and group exhibitions have brought him accolades as one of Atlanta's most prolific artists. His work has been collected by individuals as well as the High Museum of Art. In addition to contributing to the fine art world, he has also worked with several major brands to successfully bring his unique vision into the commercial space. Brandon, good to see you this morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning.
Yeah, well, I really want to thank you so much for being here this morning. I know you're a really busy guy, so we're just going to jump right in. As you know, we are in day 3 of Oakwood University's Entrepreneurship Week. And so I'm going to ask you a few questions about your experience as a world renowned artist before you give us a tour of your workspace. But before I get
Okay.
into all of that, give us just a brief summary, if you can, as to who you are and what you do for those of us out there that might be familiar with your work, but not so familiar with you in person.
Sure. My name is Brandon Sadler. A lot of people may be familiar with my work through Rising Red Lotus. And under that name, I've done murals around the city of Atlanta and other states in the nation, but also I've done film work, Black Panther, as you mentioned. I also do illustrations for different brands and comic work. I'm a woodworker. I make furniture. I'm a tea advocate, and I have a tea room called the Jade Forest Tea Room. And yeah, so Rising Red Lotus started off being kind of a moniker, which slowly has become a company. It's Rising Red Lotus, the studio now, and under that umbrella of the company, I do all of the aforementioned services, basically. And I've been able to, like, on a small scale, hire people on to different projects, and that's only going to grow over time.
That is incredible. So you're basically kind of a jack of all trades, from what I can tell.
More or less, I try to specialize in everything that I touch. Like, I don't want it to be diluted in any way. So I guess the aim is for continuity and synergy through all things. So
I love that.
yeah.
So I want you to take us through a little journey, actually. Start off by telling me, when did you first become interested in art?
Well, I guess in my home, my mom is a fashion designer and painter, and now she's an art teacher. And I'm a only child, so I spent a lot of time in the imaginary space, and building things out of cardboard boxes and doing that kind of stuff. So that was the inception, and then I got into comic books in my adolescence, and that kind of led me to copying the pages and trying to draw what I saw, and which then got into anime and things like that. And then in middle school, high school, it transitioned into graffiti, which pretty much laid the foundation for everything that I'll show y'all in the studio, and the things that you may have seen on online from me. The roots of my work are really based in graffiti and comics, and yeah.
That's incredible. Can you tell me a little bit more about your introduction to graffiti?
I think I can't remember the name of the publication, but it was like some magazine. It was a skate magazine, and it was a section of it that had freight trains, and it just really hooked me. Something about it, could have been the culture of it, or the visual appeal, but something like hit me, and it became like an addiction, and I really like went down the rabbit hole, and kind of it stayed with me all the way up until I graduated college. And through those years from middle school to high school, I mean middle school to college, it was like you know I'm always sketching or going out to paint or having these like adventures, and kind of honing my identity and the ability to express that visually, and also like observing my environment and finding a room for myself or room to put myself in the environment, as opposed to just being a passerby. Um, yeah, and that kind of set me up again for what I do today.
And so, speaking of what you do today, we talked about it a little bit backstage, but can you tell me a little bit more on what made you decide to just go 100% into making art a career?
Yeah, I mean, when I was in undergrad, I had a few projects that I did.
Uh-oh. Brandon, you there? Okay, I see you. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
I hear you now. Yes.
Yeah, I have it on Do Not Disturb, and it still did the
It
notifications.
still
So
disturbs
forgive me.
you.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry. So anyway, back to the question.
Mhm.
I was doing like little projects for friends, like painting on T-shirts and things like that. So like the business aspect of how to get money from your work was there. I was selling like paints here and there while I was in undergrad, but once I graduated, I had a period where I was looking for work, and it was very difficult. Um, and then it got to a point where it was through the recession at that time. It was like 2009. Um, and so it was very difficult for me to find freelance work, and so I ended up actually moving to Korea to teach English, of all things. Just I wanted to do something.
Yeah.
Um, and so, when I got back, I was out there for a year, and when I got back, I took a full-time job at a retail store, and I did that while also working on my own stuff on the side. And then eventually, I was let go from that job, and it just became like a catalyst for me to really decide what I wanted to do with my work and my life ultimately. Um, and I just came to the conclusion that I was not going to look for another job. I was going to focus everything in on my work and really like trying to make it work. And over the first 3 years or so, it was really really difficult. But diligence and you know the hard work, it really manifested something that right now is a outstanding reality.
Wow. Can you tell me, I know that as an entrepreneur, it's important to know how to set and achieve goals. But as a
Hmm.
creative, sometimes it can be really hard to work inside the structure of timelines and deadlines. So, can you tell me, as someone who's basically a master manifester, what is your process of setting and achieving goals?
Well, I mean, it depends on what we're talking about. If I'm thinking about an exhibition or something of that sort,
Mhm.
then I'm thinking about what's the general idea that is going to become the story that I'm trying to tell in that show. And so I focus on the story first, and then I develop the work around that story, and then from there, come up with the schematic to make the show a reality.
Okay.
Now, if we're talking about how do I insert myself into the professional world or the commercial world with my work, it's like, well, what products, what publications, what industries do I consume? Do I appreciate? So is that film? Is that comics? Is that tea? Is that whatever it is that I'm interested in? Well, I'm already participating in it, so how can I like insert myself into that and have it relate to my work? Which goes back to graffiti, which I was talking about, like discovering your identity and figuring out how to insert yourself within your environment. And so if there's a product or something like that I'm consuming and I'm interested in contributing to, then I'll make work that has to do with has to do with those things, even if it doesn't exist, and then maybe um, pitch it to that company. And the glory of the internet is that you can create all the work first, then harness it in a nice proposal, type of email, and
Mhm.
it might hit.
Nice. Do deadlines affect your creative process at all? And if they do, how do you deal with that?
No, not at all. I mean, I'm trained as an illustrator, so uh, it's very deadline central.
Okay.
Like you have to be able to achieve high results efficiently in a quality manner. And I actually like I'm very mission oriented. When I don't have a mission, I'm like I could not do anything.
Okay.
So
So it really,
deadlines are great for me.
okay. Well, glad to hear it. So that kind of leads me to my next question. You were saying that you are a trained illustrator. So, being that you have a BFA in illustration, for what you wanted to do, did you ever at times feel like college wasn't worth it?
Uh, I don't think so. Not actively. No, not when I was in it.
Okay.
Maybe after the fact, I had those thoughts,
Okay.
but that just comes with student loans. Like that. I mean, that's about the extent of that. I think while I was in school, it was good because it created an environment where there was competition. There was like I was saturated in what I was interested in. I think it was necessary.
Okay. So tell me, as someone who gets paid to be creative, how do you find a balance between being creative as a career and being creative as an expression?
Yeah. Well, I guess it's twofold. On one hand, uh, going back to so again, just to preface that the answer to that question,
Mhm.
like the foundations of my work is based in like three things, and that's like identity, transformation, and storytelling. And so identity being once you know, in any industry, not even just creative, once you identify your who you are, and then attach integrity to that, and then attach values and goals and mission to that, then you know what you will and won't do. Because if it doesn't adhere to that, then you know you shouldn't do it. And so I've kind of like I figured that out at a very early age before I was even out of school. And so I guess because I've stuck to that, my client work comes to me for me. And so I don't really have to deviate too far from what it is that I am,
That's
both
incredible.
visually and, you know, personally.
So you're able
Yeah.
to
And so, but I still
go ahead.
go ahead.
I was saying, so you're basically able to use the career as a way to express yourself.
Yeah. I mean, you know, they come. I still have to, you know, I still have to tell the stories of whatever brand it is. But ultimately, yeah, they come from me, you know, for what they see of my work. And so that's very freeing. But then again, like I say, it's twofold because it's still a job sometimes,
Hmm.
you know, and so I have to find time to not only like replenish myself like personally and spiritually, like, you know, by taking breaks or doing something else, but I have to find like ways to, you know, separate parts of my brain to do the things that are directly, you know, uh, on my mind.
Understood. Um,
Yeah, because it becomes a 9 to 5 just like anything else.
Absolutely. And yeah, that can be killer for a creative. So I think being able to separate is really, really important.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, this may be a little bit of a personal question. Answer it if you choose.
yeah.
Have you made it to where the point that you've always aspired to be? Like, are you who you always wanted to be? And if not, what elements do you feel you still need in order to make it to that point?
As a man
As in your
or as an
career.
artist.
Your career.
I was like, how deep are we going here? Like,
We can take that
geez,
backstage.
yeah. um, well, at the base, at the base of it, yeah, I've achieved what I set out to achieve. I sustain myself doing what I love. Now I have all these like nuances of like, you know, things that I, you know, want to achieve within that. But at the base, I've done what I set out to do. I can take care of my family. I can take care of myself.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, so, you know, there's always, you know, ambition things and, you know, other stuff that I want to do.
right. Well, that is
So
a,
no, I haven't like completed it.
but it's still a journey. So, and you are
Yeah,
well on your way. That's what it seems like. Um, so we
yeah,
talked
for sure.
about some of the hardships that you had in getting, not being able to find work, and being fired from your job, 3 year struggle that you had. Can you talk a little bit about what some of your advantages, what you perceive some of your advantages to have been, and how you made the most of them?
Uh, advantages, or like in the process of getting to this point.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess one of the major advantages is that I, you know, and it's not guaranteed when you set out to do anything, but I've been able to acquire the attention of others. People appreciate what I do,
Yeah.
and you know, it's something I can't control. It's something I'm forever thankful for because a lot of people, you know, you can go your whole life doing something every day, and not one person says it. Hey, I like that. So that's like the number one blessing if I had to put it. And then I guess other advantages, I mean, I guess maybe, the fact that I did go to school, um, it's kind of set me up with resources sometimes, like just uh, maybe like indirectly, through people that I meet or word of mouth kind of things.
Okay.
Also, I guess one of the advantages is another major one would be had I never gone into murals, I think my career would have been a lot slower to take
Wow.
because it's basically like I'm making billboards,
Yeah,
you know, and so it's like advertising way past, the shelf life of the project.
that's that's very true. Um, so
Yeah, so I think that's one of the key advantages right there.
is having gone branched into murals?
Yeah,
Yeah, wow. Okay, so for any artist listening,
because like it. Yeah, because I mean, if I had to depend on other industries that I was pursuing in, like say I started off going for fine art.
okay.
Doing gallery shows, I mean, it's only relative to who can go into that gallery and or buy something and or publish, some kind of review. And then it still has to travel, all these different airways to even do anything. And it might not hit. And then maybe illustration and design and stuff like that. I mean, same thing. And first you got to get the job.
Yeah.
So, murals, I could paint a mural for free, you know, and have that, with my contact info on there and do all that, and it just, generate
Yeah.
traffic without me having to do much of anything.
That's brilliant. And I think you just came off of doing another mural not too long ago. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm always doing something. I just finished one for CNN for a show called United Shades of America,
Yeah.
Kamal Bell show,
Mm-hmm.
and then before that, I did a really substantial project for Trillis Studios. It used to be Pinewood Studios, where they shot Black Panther and all kinds of other things. And that wall was massive. It's 18,000 square feet.
Just out of curiosity, how
And
long?
I'm about to.
Go
Okay.
I was saying out of curiosity, how long did it take you to complete that wall?
Uh, the other thing about graffiti being the foundation is like you don't have all day to sit out there and get your point across.
Mhm.
Um, and so it kind of set me up to be able to do things very fast
Yeah.
and effectively. And so that one for Trillis, 18,000 square feet, took me 6 days.
Wow.
And then the CNN one, I think I finished that in 3.
Wow. And then I had interrupted you accidentally where you said you're getting ready to do something.
Oh yeah, I'll show you when we go through the studio. But I got a ton of paint sitting on the floor. I'm about to start a mural for the Beltline. It's a walking path here in Atlanta,
I've heard,
and
yeah,
they have art flanking the path.
that's amazing.
There's a few questions from the viewers.
Um, so your clientele list, and then we're gonna go to some audience questions actually. But your clientele list, like we kind of just talked about, is impressive to say the least. I think I saw Adidas, Disney, NBC, Google, Saks, Fifth Avenue, Marvel Studios, of course, and the list goes on. You are clearly being taken seriously. Um, but before you start securing those top level contracts, I know it can be a pretty invalidating experience with people undervaluing what you do and questioning your creative vision. So my question is, how did you kind of stay on the path to continue to push your purpose and your vision forward?
Making a lot of good decisions, making a lot of bad decisions, doing some unnecessary things, such as I think you have to pick and choose when you do pro bono work.
Okay.
Like when people say things like, we'll give you exposure, things like that. Uh, some of those were necessary, because you got to weigh it out for yourself. Like you got to weigh out like if it makes sense.
Yeah.
And sometimes it does make sense. Other times, like if you got a major corporation coming to you cold, like they come to you cold and they say that they have a job for exposure. Well, clearly you're already exposed because they came to you.
Right.
So I would advise you to think about that strongly before you agree. And I only say that, I mean, of course, everybody's path is going to be different, but I only say that because you both participate, but also set the economic atmosphere that you're a part of, And if you and your alikes in your industry are going around, taking pro bono work or undervaluing yourself, it tells people that whoever in your city in your industry will work for free, and so you'll never really be able to come out of that as an industry.
Yeah.
And so I think, like, you know, in the beginnings, some of the things that I did or didn't do really made the difference.
Wow. I think that is extremely valuable. I know we have a couple questions from the audience. Can we get some of those on screen? All right. Brandon, do you see the question there? What was your motivation to do graffiti? Is there a time where you thought to quit, where you had thought to quit what you had started? If so, what made you keep going until now? And that's from Yvonne.
My motivation to start graffiti, I guess it was just it was charming. It was like this. I was living in the suburbs, and so I was like looking at this thing in an environment that was completely foreign to me because I hadn't been in the city, and I was my mom was kind of strict, so I kind of stayed in the house, and this kind of it was the other side of that. So I got, and I already liked art, so I kind of got into that, and then in terms of or I got into it for that appeal, but I guess in terms of starting and stopping something, no, I always finish what I start. Uh, it's like I can't start something and then especially if it's public, I have to finish. But I mean, I definitely, you have those thoughts that like, oh, this is too hard or whatever, and but you just, even if it looks like trash, you just go ahead and you finish it. Yeah.
All right. And then Trevon Johnson asks, how has the pandemic affected your work and your creativity, or has it affected it at all?
Oddly enough, well, in the beginning, I had just finished up a client with H&M, and they're based in New York, or the ad agency that hired or H&M hired an ad agency that's based in New York who hired me. And so after the job was over, this was in like January, and then pandemic hit. Well, they're based in New York. New York had like the craziest situation when it came to like quarantine and all stuff. And so my check was held for like a good 5 months. And so I didn't know when I was gonna get paid, or not 5 months, 5 weeks. And I didn't know how I was gonna get paid. And then here come April, and I guess people's creative budgets got, now we've been quarantined and people are having time to, come up with new marketing schemes. They got more budget because they're not having to house people in office, and they got free time, so they're coming up with creative things. And so I feel like it's been a really good, oddly enough, it's been a really good time for creatives. At least for me, I can't speak for everybody else, but the pandemic money is flowing, and it's like a lot of jobs out here.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm
Especially even as an entrepreneur, off of the art side of things.
mhm.
As an entrepreneur right now, like the earth is fertile. It really is, because there's so many, like so much opportunity for you to create a product or a business, or even an intangible digital platform, you know.
Yeah, that I would have to, as an entrepreneur, I would have to agree as well. We have another question here from Julian B. For an
Yeah.
aspiring creative entrepreneur, can you give any additional details on how to pitch an idea to a company?
um I think just being deliberate in your approach, and not being deliberate in your approach, and making sure that all of all of your all the elements that make up your business or whatever are in order. um at this point in life, uh technically there's like really no excuse for showing up without a social presence, without a website. um Squarespace is easy to host on things, like you don't have to know how to code or any of that stuff. As much as we're like photoing, having photographs and all that stuff, like content should be a thing. And making sure that you're in order before you pitch these people. And we do it from a genuine place. Do it with intention. And if it's a company that makes a product, well, why do you want to be a part of that? How can you know how can they benefit off of you, and how can you benefit off of them? And really expressing that, because I can imagine that no matter who it is, they get millions of people asking the same thing. And you might be the one that does it in a genuine way.
Wow, thank you. I want us to have time to look at your studio, so I'm going to just ask a couple more questions. Um, I don't know if you know this, but I was selected to be the entrepreneur in residence at Oakwood University because I'm the founding executive director of 57 Northampton, which is a mental health advocacy nonprofit. So I could not resist the urge to throw in a mental health question. So being as honest as you feel comfortable, tell me what kind of strain has entrepreneurship had
Uh,
on your mental health and how you address it.
say that one more time.
What
The
the strain, can you, just being as honest as you feel comfortable, tell me about
mm,
the strain that entrepreneurship has had on your mental health and how you address that.
I think that on some aspects, there's been pressure to, you know, when I'm going from, I'm not so much now, but in the beginning when it was like project to project, and I was just trying to like make rent. um, the stress of like, well, where's my next check coming from, uh, was really debilitating, but also motivating, because kind of there was no going back. Like I knew once I left a job space, I was not going back. And so I guess turning around the pressure into like motivation, I guess. And then what else? The big one for me, I think, that has been an ongoing thing, is that the nature of my work specifically is very solitary.
Okay.
I only see people if, you know, I decide to hire somebody for a project, or if it's like a project where I'm working on a team. But most of my interactions are on email, a phone call, or like a quick face-to-face meeting, and then everything else is remote. So I've been kind of preparing for the pandemic for like like 9 years, I spent a lot of time by myself, and so I think that has been an ongoing adjustment. And so the ways that I deal with that are, find find times to be social, even if you think like, oh, I got to work all the time, work's got to get done, it's not going to get done. It's going to get done. You got to take time for yourself. You have to like have balance. um and so yeah, I just try to seek that balance, because too much of one thing is going to derail you.
I really appreciate you kind of leading with that, because I know we live in kind of a world where it's just hustle, hustle, continue to hustle harder and harder and harder until you make six figures, or whatever it is that you're trying to reach. And so I really appreciate you saying, no, you do need to do this in moderation. You need to, yes, work is important. You do need to set goals. You do need to stick to what you said you were going to do. But you also need to make time for yourself and make time to
Hmm.
be with others and take care of your mental health. So I appreciate that, and I feel that if students are going to take anything away, I would like them to take away, take care of yourself so that you can do your job and take care of others. So
Yeah, and that comes down to eating, being active, like all those things. You might skip lunch because you got a deadline or whatever, but like you gotta pay attention to all that kind of stuff. And you know, yeah.
absolutely. So last question. Um, and I had to ask. The way that I came to know about you is the same way a lot of us came to know you and your work, is through Shuri's lab in the movie Black Panther. So I have to ask you, just what was that experience like? How did you secure that contract? And then, probably most important, what was it like being on the set and being assigned to create art in this fictional world that was untouched by European influence? Did that have any impact at all on the final product?
Well, I'll answer the first part, and then I'll get to the second part. So going back to uh, manifestation and setting goals. Like I have a comic book that I've been working on since like 2010, and for me, it's a daunting project, and so it's been in development in increments over the years.
Mhm.
And one of the ways that I try to psych myself into getting into it is I was like, well, I'm gonna start integrating comic imagery into the mural work and illustrations and stuff like that. Just kind of propel myself energetically into like comic mode.
Mhm.
And so anyway, I did a few murals in the city, and when it was time for uh, Marvel to come out here and shoot BP, they live here. It's a long period of time where they got to shoot, and so Hannah Beekler, the lead set designer for the movie, she lived around the corner from this wall that I painted. And I'll show you the sketches for those in the flat file when we start going. But and then Ryan Coogler went to Afropunk Music Festival. They have it in New York and London and Paris, and they ended up doing it here too. And when they came, I did some poster designs, some like apparel stuff, and some murals. And Ryan went to the festival and saw the murals, and then he got to talking with Hannah. Hannah got to talking with him, and it just so happened that I had done both of those walls. And it was all started with me trying to,
Yeah.
propel the comic stuff. And so anyway, I got the email, and had the Marvel logo in there, and of course I hit the floor kind of thing. And and so then I went to Screen Gem Studios. It's in Lakewood, and we had the meeting, and Hannah was there, and Ryan was there, and some other people. And, they gave me the rundown just about the creative directive, and I mean, for the most part, going back to people just wanting me, Hannah was like, I love what you do. The only things you have to consider is that Shuri is a scientist, also a warrior, also a teenager, and she's African. But also, there's high technology, and the floor is yours. And so, even though it exchanged through her hands, Ryan's hands, Marvel, and then to Disney headquarters, all these different hands had to see the work. It didn't get diluted, and I didn't have to do a bunch of iterations, and yeah, and so it was a really, it was a really flow driven project. It was beautiful, and to talk about what do you say, create work for
Yeah,
African environment not touched by European hands.
by European influence.
Um, yeah, I think I approached it well thematically. I approached it with I guess sensibilities of music and graffiti, imparted with inspiration from African mask and Nigerian fabric patterns. And kind of, so I guess graffiti being something that was created out of you know expression during impoverished, desperate times, seeking identity in a place that didn't, you know, value you, and then putting that up against ancestry and tradition. So I guess it kind of embodied that youth and that warrior spirit while also having some ties to where she comes from.
That's amazing. So, Brandon, I know you've got to run, but you are at your studio. And I think that's because you're going to
Yeah.
grace us with a tour of your creative space. So we are ready when you are.
Okay. Let me shift the camera around. Hold on one second. Oh no, that's camera off. All right, here we go. Front camera, back camera.
There we go. There it
All right, we in there. All right. Let me get up from where I am.
is. Okay.
First and foremost, this is the resident shop dog, Sumi.
Hey, there's.
All right, so here's the space in its entirety.
Okay.
Um, and so this space, I'll just give you kind of like
Okay.
a rundown. It used to be a commercial space, and I came in and built it out. I ripped the carpet up, and I do carpentry also. So I built a wall in here, and uh, have a wood shop in the back. We'll get to that. These are some of the text
Okay.
uh, pieces that I do, calligraphy. Um, a lot of my work has to do with the natural world. Like I really love, nature and plants and water is a big thing.
Mhm.
Um, Text is a
Yeah.
huge foundation of the work. These are interesting because they're actually built up
Oh, wow.
uh, oil paint. You know,
How long did that take
just
you?
something. Uh, I think I don't know, might have took a couple of weeks, but it's oil paint, so it'll be dry in like 5 years. These are some oil paint takes forever to dry if you don't know. Those of you watching, this is some brushes I use for calligraphy. These are like horsehair brushes, some watercolors and ink and stuff. Um, this is a painting that I started that I will finish at some point, but I just haven't gotten to it. It's all oil paint. It's the palette. Over here, some paintings that I just have laying around. Some snakes. These are I cut these out with a jigsaw, and I need to just MDF right now, but I'll paint them and they'll look like you know, signs, but they're like three-dimensional.
Incredible.
They say things like this says peace, and this is change, grace, harmony, discipline, love, and the sun.
Wow.
I also do some landscapes. It's more traditional watercolor.
That's beautiful.
More calligraphy, and I'll give you some insight into the calligraphy here. So everything that I write is in English, but again, going back to graffiti and you know, how it needed to evolve for me, I went to Korea, and you know, through observation and going to different shows and kind of studying language out there, I took what I was doing in graffiti and applied it to, you know, the calligraphy basically, and the Chinese character system. But this is all English, so I designed it where the letters are formed to look like a character. So this says love.
Okay.
So this is the L,
Oh,
this is the O, and then the V is backwards, upside down,
okay.
and this is the E.
I see it.
Yeah, so, but it looks like a character.
Yeah.
And then I also, you know, do carving. So this is a wood block print that I did. And these are the blocks for it. I carved these out of cherry wood. This is the ink block for the black lines. And then you print those first. And then this is the color block for the body. And then this is the color block for the background. And then you get that. And then this is a mask that at some point I will finish, but it was an ambitious pursuit, and I just haven't had the attention span to finish it. But here it is in its start.
How long did it take you to do that? What we're looking at right now?
Also, this right here.
Mm-hmm.
I think I worked on this for about a couple of weeks or so, and then I just like, I don't know. I think my initial approach was I should have started it different, but that's another conversation. But I can salvage this. I just don't really feel like it right now. And then here's some clay stuff. I do ceramics every now and then. This is just a jar that I haven't finished. This is some more landscape stuff. I'll take you back here. These are some doors that I made for my wood shop space. And in here, this is the wood shop, just, you know, self-explanatory tools. This is another door I'm making for a friend of mine. This is storage for materials, bunch of hardwood. This is my sharpening station that I repurposed this water fountain for the water stones.
I love that.
Sharpen the chisels. This is a bench that I made for my mom, and it went outside, and I didn't finish it properly, so I have to repair it and refinish it. But it looked good at one point.
It looks fine to me, but I guess I don't have that, you know.
Well, it got wrecked by the rain. It was so much rain this summer. It just like, yeah, it just kind of wrecked it. So I'll just have to refinish it, sand it down, refinish it. But there's some carving in here, and just like carve it out and then fill it with resin, colored
What
resin.
does this mean? The symbols that we're seeing on this one.
Oh, this is soak up the sun butterfly. She fancies herself as a butterfly. She's always like floating from country to country. She goes to a new country every year, except for this year, which has got her kind of tight. But, There's some lotus painting. Someone's cut these circles out and painted on those. Here's my organization.
Okay.
You know, this is a good system if you're not, I think it's called schemes or something like that.
Okay.
But it's like you put what you got to do and you prioritize it based on its like, difficulty and also deadline.
Okay.
And then you put what you're doing, so what's already open, what you're working on, and any deadlines. Like today, we're doing, talk with you, and then that'll move down to done. And
Nice.
done is both good for your, so you know what you did, but also a good like, star on your chart where you're like,
Yeah.
I did
That
stuff
has to
today.
feel good to have that much in the done column.
Yeah. So this is my flat file, and here I keep anything that's done with ink. So some, ink stuff and some comic work, things like that. Oh, here's these. These are from Afropunk. If I can get them out.
Wow.
So these are some of the posters that I did for Afropunk that led to Black Panther. This is some calligraphy stuff. I'll show you. This is just the alphabet. So just A, B, C, D. Can you see?
I can definitely see that one, yes. So this is the one.
Yeah. So there's like, yeah. So I designed these like, just as the same principles as graffiti. Like when you're doing a hand style, everything has to be consistent. So I just identify like what's going to be the style of this particular font of letter,
Okay.
and that keep it consistent throughout the alphabet.
You can see that, yes.
So same example here, A, B, C, D, and just keep the style of it consistent. And I have like 20 some odd of these, so I'm gonna go through them. But this is a pencil drawer, so anything that's drawn in pencil gets sitting here, all kinds of stuff. Oh, here's some where'd it go? I just saw it. Well, I don't know. Well, whatever. It was for Black Panther, but there's some trying to find something. Here's a mural. This is the mural sketch for one of the walls that Hannah saw. It's like a samurai vanquishing a demon.
That's incredible.
Here's another mural. Sound like a celestial character. Some other stuff. Oh, here's a Black Panther stuff. So here's some concepts for
that looks familiar.
Black Panther. Yeah, this is the sketch for that newest wall. So these are actually where I was going with it first for Black Panther. So this is the blueprint of the tower, just flat. And so initially this is what I proposed. Well, hold on. Initially this is what I proposed. But they said it looked too mature, like it looked like she was an artist.
Okay.
So, we went with something that was a little like more simplistic, I guess, which I think I prefer.
Yeah,
these are some other
incredible.
Some other ideas. I think this was too kiddie. It didn't feel warrior enough for them. So but this was another concept.
Wow.
But that was about it. In terms of their suggestions and stuff. Oh, and this is another example of a mural. I could go on in this file. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there. But anyway, so this is my drafting table where I do all my drawing and whatnot.
Can you tell me what the praying
This is
mantis means to you?
Oh yeah, well this is a self-portrait of me mixed with a praying mantis. This is my tattoo on there and my hands. The praying mantis is just a as a creature, it's very ferocious and powerful, but unassuming and in its patience and I guess calm demeanor.
Yeah.
And it's very pensive as an insect. Like it just sits there and waits for the precise moment, and it doesn't miss. So I like that. And here's a piece on a circular thing. Some more ink work. Some calligraphy stuff.
Brandon, I don't know if you're able to.
I just finished these.
Go ahead. Wow.
Huh?
I was saying
I can't see the comments.
Well, people are saying these are incredible expressions. It's such an inspiring view of your workshop. Just completely blown away by your talent. This is amazing. This is incredible.
I'm back. There's some more calligraphy stuff. I try to like switch it up sometimes. So I cut these out with the jigsaw and kind of created like an assemblage piece. It says running water never goes still or stale, sorry. It's a Bruce Lee quote. And this is interesting because it's actually made out of spray paint.
Oh wow. I wouldn't expect.
Yeah, so if you get all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all spray paint.
Wow. So there's pretty much no medium that you have not tried.
More or less. I mean, I have sometimes to a fault, but mostly to a benefit. I have an obsessive personality. And so, if I get interested in it, I'm gonna latch on and make sure I know how to do it.
Yeah. Wow.
So some calligraphy stuff. These are some boxes that I made.
Okay.
Just like some little tea boxes or whatever.
Wow.
There's another wood block print. I kind of leave it up there because it's kind of nice.
That's the Rising Lotus, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And lastly, this goes back into synergy. So this is another box I made, but I love tea. It's my tea space. I did not build the chairs, but I did build the table. The chairs are from IKEA. Not that chair, but so I love tea, and I already spent a lot of money on it. So I looked up a farmer, and now we produce tea.
Wow.
These are some cakes that I designed over the years.
That is just breathtaking.
Yeah, so all these teas are just just another marker of how what I enjoy in my personal life can become parts of my professional life.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's that.
Brandon, that was amazing. Thank you so much. Like I said, you absolutely have fans in the audience that are really, really inspired and impressed with what they just heard and what they just saw. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. That was wow.
Oh,
Absolutely
nice.
amazing. My dad is a carpenter, so I grew up in a wood shop, and so when you were going through your back area there, I felt very much at home, man. That was absolutely phenomenal, man. Wow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Wow. Well, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah, this was
absolutely.
brilliant, and we would love to see you again. But I know that you're a busy guy, so thank you
Yeah,
so much for your time.
absolutely.
Oh, no problem.
All right.
So
Go ahead, Jana.
yeah, so I was saying, so we just had a conversation, you guys, with an extremely successful African American artist who is paving his own way, leaving his own unique mark in the world. So now, though, we want to extend the same opportunity to Oakwood University artists to do the exact same thing. OU Launchpad is kicking off an exciting new initiative called Project Reflection. I want to tell you all about it. Project Reflection is an initiative to create and install new pieces of artwork all across Oakwood University campus that portray African life, achievements, and contributions before slavery. This is to supplement the artwork that's already installed on campus. By supplementing the existing art, OU Launchpad aims to show students a fuller and more comprehensive vision of their history. So the call is for all visual artists from Oakwood University. We're talking about students, alumni, faculty, or staff to conceptualize works of art based on ancient African life to be considered for permanent placement on Oakwood University campus. I also have to add that this is a paid opportunity, okay? And not just getting paid what we think you're worth, but you getting paid what you know you're worth, because we really want to provide you, especially students, with a chance to work with a real life client, get some real world experience, and get some real money in those bank accounts. How about that? Um, so now, because the art needs to be inspired by African life before the slave trade, at 3:30 today, the mayor of Opelika, Florida, and Africana historian Matthew Pygat, he's going to give you a massive dose of inspiration and really get those creative juices flowing with a very immersive and engaging presentation that he calls Founders of Civilization 5,000 Years of African History Before Slavery. So, if you just watch Brandon and you're wondering how do you submit your work, how do you get started, you have no place, no idea where to start by tuning in at 3:30. After which we're going to let you know exactly how and where to apply. And honestly, whether you're a visual artist or not, it's Black History Month, and this is a beautiful and uplifting but often overlooked part of Black history. So I really hope that we'll see you today at 3:30.
Wow, wow, wow. That is awesome and phenomenal. And it takes us right to the close of our time together today. Jana, there's some definitely some comments coming in about your interview style and of course about the initiative. Definite fans of Oakwood, supporters of Oakwood, alumni of Oakwood are definitely rallying around the ideas that are coming out of Launchpad. So we're hoping that they really do come back this afternoon at 3:30 p.m. Central Time. That's going to be 4:30 for our East Coast friends and 1:30 for our folks in the West. For the Founders of Civilization, 5,000 years of African history. In that presentation, Matthew guides the audience on a journey of the human experience throughout the ages, inspiring examples of human potential and accomplishment many leaders have used for personal and community empowerment are dramatically illustrated. This has been a phenomenal week thus far, but it is not over. Tomorrow we have a forum called Entrepreneurship Beyond Oakwood, and it's going to be made up of Oakwood supporters and alum, and they're going to be talking about it'll be made up of industrious entrepreneurs, I should say. They'll be sharing the highs and lows of life after diving into entrepreneurship and what they've learned by carving out their own paths. And then, of course, Friday, we do have the ribbon cutting for the OU Launchpad Center, which will be on site, unfortunately. So if you are local to the Huntsville area in the Tennessee Valley, socially distanced with your mask on, we definitely would like for you to try to come out. It will be outside. The OU Launchpad Center is right next to where WJLU is. So a familiar location to all, 4920. So there's still more to happen this week, and we're excited about all those things. We hope that you continue to partner with us, continue to hang with us throughout these presentations, and be thinking about ways that you can engage with OU Launchpad well into the remainder of the year. With that said, I'm your host for the week, Kirk Nugent, and of course, Jana, thank you so much for that interview with Brandon. It was absolutely phenomenal, and being able to see the designs from Zuri's lab that I recognized, it just kind of popped out of it. It's like, that's it, man, it just amazing. I was definitely doing the fanboy thing backstage, just jumping up and down like, wow. I don't know how you kept yourself together. I'm glad I wasn't on screen.
Barely.
But it was absolutely amazing. I'm definitely going to be sharing this video after the fact, because I do want others who may be at work right now, maybe you can catch the replay after work this evening, but I'm definitely going to be sharing the video, and I hope that those who are still watching, those who caught it live, you will do the same as well. I guarantee there's some young person out there, some young artist who needs to hear what Brandon has shared. And I love the fact that he talked about, the pandemic, this time frame of the pandemic has really heightened budgets for creativity and for creatives. And that has been my experience as well, being a new entrepreneur during this time frame. So, man, we thank you so much again for hanging out with us for this time that we were able to spend together, having Brandon welcome us to Wakanda, which is so phenomenal. We will see you this afternoon at 3:30. Take care.